Good morning, students. Now we are going to discuss chapter number 16 from economic portion is economic liberalization and globalization. When India became independence in 1947, then after we were not self dependent on even on an agricultural field. Means most of the grains and coarse grains most of the grains and coarse grains was adopted from India from foreign countries. In other terms, at that time of independence, India mostly dependent on foreign countries. Forget about the industrial field. India is or have to dependent on a foreign country for the grains, coarse grain, which is our daily needs. Okay. Then after we were taking so many decisions to improve the condition of this agricultural regarding this agricultural field to improve and the production become a major concern for our agricultural field. Then after we all know the one person M. Swaminathan went foreign, and from that person we have done a green revolution that made India very well or self dependent in the field of agriculture, okay, or in a farming field. From this green revolution, the farmers production as well as income was doubled. Today our Prime Minister's target is to double the farmers' income by 2022. मीन्स 2022 तक फार्मर की जो इनकम है उसको डबल करना मेन एम है. ओके, एंड विच वॉज गिवन अ नेम विजन 2022. ओके, दिस वॉज अ नेम गिवन बाय अवर प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज विजन 2022. ओके, after that, whenever India got independence from the Britishers, we implemented 5-year plans. 5-year plan was starting from 1951 to 2012. Means this 5-year plans was started in 1951 and ended in 2012. Okay, from 1951 to 2012 there were total 12 5-year plans was implemented in India, in which first 5-year plan was dedicated to the agriculture. Second 5-year plan was dedicated to only, first is only for agricultural field, means to develop agriculture field only. Second is only for industrial development, and in third 5-year plan they mixed up agriculture, or they combine agriculture as well as a industrial field. And from this industrial field they mostly focused on a heavy industry, and some heavy industry or steel making industry was also established in a Kolkata, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, okay. So this is 5-year plan, but whatever the success, means whatever the target to achieve success from this 5-year plan, which is couldn't get this 5-year from this 5-year plan. So after that government also implements a rolling plan, which is for 2 or 3-year plan, but this rolling plan is also not effective like a 5-year plan. So after that government made one planning commission, which decide, and this is only a think tank, means on a various topic they think upon that and gave a government to some advice, or government is not to follow or not binding for that advice which is given by the think tank, okay. After or in 2014 when BJP was came into power, or Narendra Modi was came into power, then they replaced planning commission with Niti Aayog. They replaced planning commission with Niti Aayog. So what is the full form of this Niti Aayog? Is National Institution for Transforming India. National Institution for Transforming India, and president of this Niti Aayog is in itself a prime minister. President of this Niti Aayog is a prime minister, okay. This Niti Aayog made a broad vision in which they gave a 5-year plan, 7-year plan and 20-year plan, which is included in a broad vision of India. This would be considered in a broad vision of India, okay. This is a running project, or whenever this is the idea of BJP government. So जब तक बीजेपी रहेगी नीति आयोग इज स्टेबल. देन आफ्टर टू ट्रांसफॉर्म द इंडिया और to raised at a world level, government also imposed or government also changed some monetary policy. Government also changed monetary policy as well as a fiscal policy. Government changed monetary policy as well as a fiscal policy. Okay. What is this monetary policy? And what is fiscal policy? In your textbooks, chapters starting, when the chapter starting or in an introduction, this is given two words. First is a monetary policy, second is a fiscal policy. So we will understand this deeply because it is also useful in the next 2 or 3 chapters. So monetary policy is bank related policy. Bank related policy is known as a monetary policy, and second, fiscal policy, tax related policy is known as a fiscal policy. What is the main tool of this monetary policy is bank rate, second is a repo rate, third is a reverse repo rate, fourth and fifth is a CRR, and 5 is a SLR. Okay, what is these terms? We will understand. First we should understand CRR and SLR. Okay, the full form, or what is CRR? The full form of CRR is cash reserve ratio. Full form of CRR is a cash reserve ratio. Whatever commercial, in India there is a 2 types of bank. First is a commercial bank and second is a cooperative bank. Commercial bank and second is a cooperative bank. So whatever commercial as well as cooperative बैंक, whatever कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, जो भी कमर्शियल कोऑपरेटिव बैंक है उसको कंट्री की सेंट्रल बैंक, विच इज अवर सेंट्रल बैंक इज RBI रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, उसमें अपने डिपॉजिट का कुछ परसेंट रखना है. टुडे इट इज 18%. Okay, CRR is about 18%. Suppose in a one day bank is getting 100 crore rupees. Okay, bank is getting 100 crore rupees. So this 100 crores 18% is 18 crore. So this 18 crore is deposited by this commercial as well as cooperative bank in RBI. Okay, what is CRR? कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को अपनी इनकम का कुछ परसेंट है वो RBI में रखना पड़ता है, उसको क्या बोलते हैं हम? CRR. CRR है वो बैंक को RBI के पास रखना है, while SLR तो बैंक मीन्स कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक had maintained this SLR to with himself, or bank had to keep this SLR amount with himself. Okay, what is the difference between CRR and SLR? So CRR में जो कैश है वो बैंक को RBI में डिपॉजिट करना है, while SLR में बैंक को जो कैश है वो अपने पास ही रखना है. दिस इज द मेन डिफरेंस बिटवीन CRR एंड SLR. नेक्स्ट इज बैंक रेट. व्हाट इज बैंक रेट? जब भी कोई कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए पैसे की ज़रूरत है तो वो RBI में जाएगा. मीन्स एनी कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स नीड मनी, देन दे वेंट फॉर RBI एंड RBI गेव दिस बैंक मनी एंड RBI चार्ज सम इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑन इट. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? बैंक रेट. बैंक रेट है वो मोस्टली 6% के अराउंड रहता है. वंस अगेन, व्हाट इज बैंक रेट? जब भी कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को पैसे की ज़रूरत होती है तो वो आरबीआई में जाते हैं। इन रिटर्न आरबीआई उससे कुछ इंटरेस्ट चार्ज करती है, उसको क्या बोलते हैं हम, बैंक रेट। सेकंड इज अ रेपो रेट। वन थिंग यू शुड रिमेंबर इन दिस बैंक रेट इज अ long term, means RBI given money only for this long term, means कि 1 month, 2 month, 7 month etc. रेपो रेट सेम डेफिनेशन, जब भी कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक को पैसे की ज़रूरत है वो आरबीआई में जाएंगे, आरबीआई उसके पास है सम इंटरेस्ट रेट चार्ज करेगा। बट दिस रेपो रेट वॉट एवर चार्ज इज इंक्लूडेड इन दिस रेपो रेट इज लेस देन बैंक रेट, एंड जो रेपो रेट है वो लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं लेकिन शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए मिलता है, मीन्स 1 day। द बैंक कैन बोरो मनी ओनली टू मिसमैच देयर डेली इनकम। ओके, जो भी मिसमैच हुआ है इनकम का उसको पूरा करने के लिए बैंक है वो रेपो रेट में पैसे लेते हैं। डिफरेंस बिटवीन बैंक रेट एंड रेपो रेट इज बैंक रेट में लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए मिलता है, रेपो रेट में शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए। थर्ड इज अ रिवर्स रेपो रेट। नेम सजेस्ट दैट रिवर्स रेपो मीन्स जब भी आरबीआई को पैसे की ज़रूरत होती है तो कमर्शियल बैंक आरबीआई को पैसे लेंड करती है, एंड वॉट एवर चार्ज इज टेकिंग अप बाय दिस बैंक, कमर्शियल और कोऑपरेटिव बैंक, इज नोन एज अ रिवर्स रेपो रेट। ओके, सो फर्स्ट इज सीआरआर, एसएलआर, बैंक रेट, रिवर्स रेपो रेट एंड रेपो रेट। सो वॉट एवर पॉलिसी और बैंक रिलेटेड पॉलिसी इज नोन एज अ मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी। ओके, व्हेन गवर्नमेंट or RBI felt that there is a too much inflation in the market, okay, the inflation target which is kept by RBI is 2 to 6%, or India's inflation is mostly in between of 4%, so it is ideal condition for this Indian economic system. Okay, so whenever government felt that there is a too much inflation or a deflation, inflation means लोग ज़्यादा परचेज करें, deflation means मंदी। Okay, so at that time when RBI feel there is a inflation condition, so RBI increase this rate, mostly repo rate. RBI only decide repo rate, and from this repo rate all other rate will reflect automatically, means other rate is associated or connected with this repo rate. Okay, when RBI felt that there is a deflation in the economic system, so RBI decrease this repo rate. Okay, that lead to the, अभी रेपो रेट कम होगा तो लोग ज़्यादा लोन लेंगे और दैट लीड टू द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ फॉर द कंट्री। नेक्स्ट इज अ फिजल पॉलिसी। टैक्स रिलेटेड पॉलिसी इज नोन एज अ फिजल टैक्स। इन इट सेल्फ डायरेक्ट टैक्स एंड अदर टाइप्स ऑफ टैक्स इज अ इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स। ओके, so government's most of income is done by this direct tax, and government replaced all other indirect tax with the GST, goods and service tax, which is the most reliable source for the government of India, which replaced all other tax. In direct tax there is a corporation tax, income tax, DDT, dividend distribution tax, and other so many tax are included in the direct tax. Indirect tax only GST, excise and custom duty is included in this indirect tax. So most of the year government's main source of income is direct tax, and in which direct tax government getting more money from this corporation tax. But in previous year GST, the collection of GST were at the top. First is a GST collection, means government income from this GST is 68,000 crore. After that, from GST there is a corporation tax which is 67, nearly 67,000 crore, and last is a income tax. Okay, so this is the ascending order of the collection of these taxes. So this is fiscal policy. In short, you have to remember tax related policy is a fiscal policy, while bank rate or other related policy is a monetary policy. So to improve this monetary policy, fiscal policy, or India's balance of payment and other thing, government adopted in 1991, Government of India adopted LPG reforms. The full form of this LPG is liberalization, privatization and globalization. Here privatization is not given in your title. So in 1991, who was the Prime Minister? P.V. Narasimhan Rao. P.V. Narasimhan Rao was the Prime Minister at that time, and the finance minister was Manmohan Singh. Our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was the finance minister at that time in the government of the P.V. Narasimha Rao, and Manmohan Singh suggested that this type of LPG reform should be implemented in India. That's why India can get economic growth as well. So first is economic liberalization. What is the definition of this liberalization? So every year board asks question from this, any of these three. First liberalization, second privatization, and third is a globalization. So what is the definition of this liberalization? Is government decreased control over the private sector, or other terms of definition is government decreased control over the private sector, or government gradually reduce their control over private sector. Then so from that, economic encourage have been done. So it is known as economic development. Okay. What is the definition? Government gradually reduced or decreased control over the private sector. That lead to the economic encourage, and it is known as a liberalization. Second, what was the features of this economic liberalization? First, there was a reservation for 18 industries. At that time, there were a reservation for 18 industries. Other than that, compulsion to take government permission was eliminated. Means a person or businessman who was established or who want to establish industries, so suppose he want to establish industry of a cloth, so for that there is no necessity to take permission from the government, because if whatever industry you will establish, and if it is fall within these 18 industries, so then and after you have to take permission from the government of India. Then if you are in whatever you want to establish and this industry Other than that, so you didn't or you couldn't not take a compulsion from a government permission. Okay. Second point, railway, atomic energy and defense was also open for the private sector. Okay. Before these LPG reforms, railways, atomic energy and defense was not open for the private sector. This point I am telling to you in terms of today's reference, but in your book given that railways, atomic energy and defense, apart from these three sectors, private sector can also opened for any other industry. Okay. Today in defense, atomic energy and railways have some private industry too as well. Third, before LPG reforms, at that time the tradition for a compulsory registration was cancelled. Okay. At that time there was a tradition, whatever industry, small or a big industry, whatever you have to establish, then you have to take permission or from going through the lengthy process of registration, and that registration process was cancelled. Next, whatever industry which is not cause of pollution and which are not hazardous for an environment was cancelled. Means if you want to establish industry and which is not cause of pollution and are not hazardous for environment, so they didn't take a permission from a government, they directly establish this type of industry. So this is the features of this liberalization. First is a reservation for 18 industries. Second, railways, atomic energy and defense are open for this private sector. Third, compulsory registration, the tradition of this compulsory registration was cancelled. Next, setting up industries which do not cause a pollution and are not hazardous for the environment perspective was also cancelled. Second, this is the features. Next, what are the advantages of this liberalization? So, as a liberalization, private sector got a opportunity and they make a unrestricted development that lead to the production. Okay. Because before liberalization, government imposed some control over this private sector. Well, in the definition, we have also said that government gradually reduced the control imposed by the government. So, government gradually reduced that control over this private sector. So, as a liberalization, private sector got opportunity to make a unrestricted development, and that led to the increment in a production or an increase in a production. We have seen a market system. This market system is on most probably on the basis of a profit scope. So, and that's why most of private sector are included in this market system. So, there was also seen a good development of a production or increase in a production because of their main motive or scope is, and their main motive is to profit is at the center. Okay, that's right. Second, as a liberalization, global trade was started and increase in a global trade because private sector production was very high. So, that's why whatever need here we in our country, it is reserved, and then after the other material or production we can export in a foreign country, and that's why the global trade was also increased. Third, because of increase in a foreign trade, there was a also increase in a foreign exchange too. Okay, because of a foreign trade, whenever the one company doing a trade with the another country's company, then and after they paid mostly over in a dollar. So that's why our foreign exchange have also been increased. And last, internal infrastructure facility increase, because private sector was came into picture. So they mostly developed the infrastructure facility because their main motive or target is profit, or profit is at the center for this private sector. What are the disadvantages of this liberalization? Okay, in spite of decrease in restriction, monopoly couldn't be checked. Important point, क्या बोल रहे हैं कि रिस्ट्रिक्शन तो आपने हटा लिया, लेकिन कोई सपोज गवर्नमेंट गेव दैट इफ यू आर, अगर आपको इन 18 इंडस्ट्री में से कुछ भी आपको एस्टेब्लिश करना है तो ही परमिशन लो, देन एंड आफ्टर यू आर exempted from to take a permission. So from that decrease of the restriction, monopoly couldn't be checked. अगर कोई 18 इंडस्ट्री में से कोई भी एस्टेब्लिश करेगा तो भी किसी को पता चलता है नहीं, और मोनोपोली couldn't be checked. Second, main focus of this is to industrial sector. Main focus of the liberalization is to industrial sector, or most of private sector are engaged into this activity. So India become backward in a agriculture field, means because most of the focus is given on this industrial sector, that's why India become backward from the point of view of agricultural field. Third, increase in a disparity of income. We are taking example from above points, that some person, one person who is a owner of a industrial field or industrial sector, so their income was too high, or because government promote industrial sector, while other person who belong same businessman like this person, but because they associated with agriculture field, their income was very low. So disparity of income can be seen. And last, increase in import, decrease in export. So foreign debt has increased. Foreign debt means other country, सिंपल हम उसको उधार बोलते हैं. फॉरेन डेब्ट मीन्स अदर कंट्री हमसे पैसे मांगती रहती है, लाइक USA, चाइना एंड रशिया. Our trade for USA, China and Russia mostly in a debt. That's why foreign debt has been increased. So this is the economic liberalization's feature, advantage and disadvantages.